Hi everybody. Hey, it's Louise with Louise McCare, and I am literally on my last ditch effort to try to make the universe. I've been trying for the last few days. I've been thinking about it, dreaming about it, researching how to do it. Yesterday I got an old junky canvas and I put some of this recycled paint down just to practice different concepts. And I got close. I'm getting closer, but I'm to the point now where I just want to try a full-on attempt and then go from here. So that's the idea. Today I'm going to do another attempt at a quote-unquote galaxy pour where I have a lot of negative space, places to put some stars, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'm even going to reveal the other two videos that I made because it didn't come out. I'm not sure. I know I'm hard on myself. Maybe I'll show everybody. Sometimes you have to show people the evolution as you learn each step of the way. So what I'm going to do today, so I've got my recycled paint here. This is my recycled black from my regular pour that's been 70% Floetrol, 30% Liquitex gloss. Here is the regular black that I have with the same formula with Artists Loft black that I made the commission pieces on. And then I have the metallic blue from Deco Art that I had used also. This is Aqua. I'll put the name down below in the description box. And this is Pearl Sky Blue from Arteza. I'm only going to use a little of this. And then what I've got over here is I've got titanium white. This is Naples yellow, and this is Liquitex's oxide red that I'm going to make, that I've made in a cell activator. And it's thicker cell activator than I would normally use on a bloom. But this is regular paint anyway, so I'm breaking all the rules as far as blooming. I am going to be kind of using the concept of the blow on the bloom for this attempt, but I would not call this a bloom at all. Okay, so let me get started here. I'm going to lay down some of this. I'm going to call it, like, I guess it's called a pillow. I'm just going to lay down a little bit of base in the middle, and this has got a lot of metallic in it. And I'm not going to lay down much. So I've been kicking myself for laying down too much paint lately. All right, so let me put down some of the blue. And it's really something when you're trying to create something and you have a picture of it, or you have a clear idea of what you want to do in your brain, but it just doesn't want to translate. Most times, I think most of us when we're painting, we're just kind of going with the flow. We got the paints, got the colors that we want to use, and we know what we're going to do in terms of the process. But as far as the actual the painting, it comes out, cool. We like it. It looks good. But there's not a specific thing you're going for. Where with this, I'm trying to get a specific outcome, and I'm not getting it. And it's really frustrating. I'm getting tired of it. So this is my last try. So I'm just going to spread this out a little bit. Maybe I'll just spin it. See if I can get it to spread at all. I don't want to tilt it because I tilted it yesterday and it wonked it all out. Now what I'm counting on here is this pearl blue in the middle to actually succumb to the metallic blue. Maybe what I'll do is I'll actually put a little more of this blue down. So I really want this blue to be the star in the center. Hey everyone, so I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit here. You see what I'm doing? I'm basically trying to spread the metallic blue and the other colors over the recycled base just to have it fully covering the recycled base so I can stretch it out. And that's all I'm doing here. I'm going to just try to shape it and stretch it and get the center to be as thin as possible, because what I know I'm going to be doing next is ultimately blowing colors back into the middle, and I don't want there to be a lot of extra paint in the middle when I start that process. So you can see what I'm doing here, and I'll pick up talking when I need to next. And I know I said I wasn't going to tilt, but this time I'm just tilting in straight directions. I'm not kind of tilting and swirling, which is what I did yesterday. So this is a different type of tilt, just back and forth, just stretching it. Okay. All right, let's pour some of this around. Okay, let me just spin this canvas a little bit. So I'm going to pick up the pace again here as I stretch and spread that black base all around the canvas. You certainly can see what I'm doing. I don't need to do it at regular time and just take more time here. But I'm stretching it out as much as possible and being very careful. I was very careful not to put too much paint down, but hopefully have enough so that when I do spin coming up, I have it covering all of the edges. And I want to make sure everything is as thin as possible because I'm going to be blowing back into the middle, and I don't want to have a big puddle in the middle that I then have to try to spin back off again. So I have like a little balancing act going on here. So here what I'm starting is to lay down the cell activators. That's the Naples yellow. This is the oxide red, and I'm going to throw in there a little bit of the white, and I'm going to blow. And I'm going to try to create a very soft, ethereal effect with this cell activator, mostly acting as my colors as I blow it back into the nebula and stretch it all around. And I do this in small portions because, as with the cell activator, it wants to sink. So I have this rather thicker than I would normally use in a bloom. And it's still giving me some nice cells, but I'm only working in small portions because I want to build it. I can't do all of it at once. I've got to build it in small sections at a time. I should be clear here, though, the cell activators are all the same consistency, but even though they're thicker than a normal bloom cell activator, they are thinner than the paints I'm using in the center. And the idea is to skim them over the top of those colors, creating cells and blending the cell activators together. So right here, I'm blowing out and I have a little spittle drip onto the canvas that I have to pick up And the best way to pick it up is with just a little paper towel. Just dab it in and the water will come up, the spittle will come up. And you see now I switched to another straw. And that's why I have 3 straws, because you know how much I like to blow with the straw. So I have to retire them every so often so that I have a fresh, dry straw to work with. So since the last time I got a little carried away with the oxide red, I decided to apply it this time with a toothpick, so I was a little more refined with it. But still, once again, I'm just taking small sections, just dabbing on the colors, and then basically spreading them around and blowing them over each other. And I may very well have been able to do this with regular Floetrol or even water, but I just stayed with the Australian Floetrol because that's what I used in the second attempt, and it worked. So now that I'm getting contact around the circle, around the nebula, I then focus on the actual composition of the, I don't know what you would call it, the cloud that is surrounding it. And I try to shape it and shape it into space and shape it into the nebula. all I'm doing here is trying to pull some connection between the cloud surrounding the nebula and the nebula itself. Because in the photo that I'm trying to replicate, it's almost as if there are fractals of cloud going over or through the nebula, and I don't seem to be able to recreate that, but I'm trying to do as best I can with what I've got. And I'll eventually just add some cell activator and kind of stagger it through and blow it on to make it a little more connected. Anyway, that's what I'm doing here. So through here, I'm working on the final composition of how the cloud portion is interacting with the space portion. And one of the things I have to make sure of is to have the composition pretty much where I want it before I start sprinkling on the stars. Because after the stars are on there, I'm not going to do any kind of blowing. Unless I want some shooting stars, I guess. So now that that's done, I'm basically getting set up for the stars. And I'm going to skip about a couple minutes that I do the prep for that. So now that I've dipped my paintbrush in the titanium white, I am basically just spanking it against that stick to get some of the white speckles to show up. And what I decided to do this time is add some of that yellow, Naples yellow, to it as well, so that the white is not quite so stark. And in the end, I really liked adding that yellow because it made the stars just a little bit yellow, and it made them kind of blend in much better into that black background. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just making stars in the universe. And you've probably noticed that before I take the paintbrush over the canvas, I'm spanking it over the paper towels first to get any blobs of paint off. You know what? I'm actually pretty happy with this one. Okay, folks. I know it's been a long one, 37 minutes, so I'm gonna have to cut this back. I like this one. All right, folks, I'm calling this a wrap. Here's the universe on a 10 by 10. You saw the effort that went into this. But I feel like I have come light years from where I started a couple days ago. All right. Maybe what I'll do is I'll reveal this video and I'll show you the results from the prior 2 ones. And if anybody wants to see the prior 2 ones, I'll post those as well. But this was an evolution, believe me. As is all of this. This is all, you know, learning, growing, trying new things. It's all part of it. So I just want to say thank you. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is as close as I think I'm going to get at this point with my skill set. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you liked it, hit the like button, please. And leave comments. I really appreciate that. And we'll see you next time. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Take care now. I'm really happy with how this turned out. The nebula portion behind the clouds looks like it's dived behind, which is the 3-dimensional effect I was going for. And the stars also provide 3-dimension appearance, especially with different sized stars. And the stars are just slightly off-white, mixed with some yellow. So cool. And the wisps of the clouds. So pretty. I'd love to do this on a larger scale.